My cheating partner chuckled while revealing her new relationship, so I walked away, erased her completely, and now she's humiliated pleading for financial help. Make her crawl and beg. Be me, 34-year-old guy. Living in Tampa, been married to Victoria for 2 years now. She's 32, used to work in some marketing bullshit. About 8 months into our relationship, she decides to quit. Says she wants to follow her passion and start her own jewelry business. I support it because, hey, if she has the drive, why not? Meanwhile, I'm running a plumbing business, working long hours to keep everything afloat. Thought she was building something real. Also taking care of our daughter Maya while I handle the grind. Turns out she was doing other things with her time. Should have known something was up when Victoria started getting all dressed up for shopping trips that took 4 hours. Come back with like a single bag of oranges. Suddenly needs to go to Pilates class 5 times a week. Phone is always face down and on silent. But hey, I'm not her dad. Figured if she had something to tell me, she'd tell me. Boy, did she ever. It's Thursday morning around 10:30 a.m. Maya's at school, I'm in my home office. Going through invoices from last week's jobs. Just finished a bathroom renovation for this rich family across town. Calculating profit margins. Trying to figure out if I can afford new equipment. You know, normal Thursday morning shit. That's when Victoria walks in. Doesn't knock. Doesn't say good morning. Just leans against the doorway with her arms crossed. Like she's about to deliver some epic speech. Wearing this smug little smile. Should have recognized it as a red flag. I've been seeing Brandon again. Yeah, my ex. What are you going to do about it? Just like that. No, honey, we need to talk. No, I made a mistake. I know, I'm sorry. Straight up challenge mode. Like she was daring me to have a mental breakdown. Or start begging her to stay. I'm sitting there with my pen in my hand, staring at this woman I've been married to for 2 years. The mother of my daughter. She's standing there like she just told me she changed the channel. Zero guilt, zero shame, just pure arrogance. Most guys would have lost their shit right there. Started screaming, throwing things, demanding to know why and how long and all that emotional stuff. But I've learned over the years, when someone shows you who they really are, you should believe them. What Victoria was showing me was clear. She had zero respect for me. Zero respect for our marriage. Zero respect for our family. So I looked up from my paperwork, gave her a little nod and said, got it. That's it, 2 words. You should have seen her face. She was expecting fireworks, tears. Maybe me getting on my knees begging her to reconsider. Instead, she got the most anticlimactic response possible. Completely threw her off her game. She actually smirked wider. Like she was proud of herself for not getting a reaction. Didn't think you'd make a scene. Then she grabbed her jacket. The expensive one I bought her for Valentine's Day last year. Walked out the door, probably heading straight to see the same jerk she dated before me. The same guy who cheated on her 4 years ago. Which is how we ended up together in the first place. Funny how that comes full circle. The second I heard her car pull out of the driveway, I picked up my phone and called my lawyer. See, here's what Victoria didn't understand about me. I don't make emotional decisions. When someone declares war on my family, I don't get mad, I get strategic. And she had just declared war on everything I'd built. Because here's the thing about being a plumber. You learn to plan for problems before they happen. You check for leaks twice, install once. You prepare for the worst case scenario. And Victoria had just become my worst case scenario. The crazy part is, she really thought she had all the power. Thought, because we were married, she could do whatever she wanted. And I'd just have to deal with it. She probably figured that, even if I did leave her, she'd take half of everything in the divorce. Get alimony on top of it. What she didn't know was that I'd been preparing for this possibility. Since the day we got engaged. Not because I wanted our marriage to fail, but because I'm not an idiot. I've seen too many good men get destroyed. By women who wait until they're comfortable to show their true colors. You see, my cousin Dave got absolutely destroyed in his divorce. About 12 years ago. Lost his house, his business, even his dog. I watched that whole show. Made myself a promise never again. So when I started getting serious with Victoria, my mom and I had a little conversation about asset protection. Everything went into her name. The house, the business, my truck, even Maya's college fund. On paper, I'm just some guy who works for his mom's plumbing company. Lives in her house. Smart? Hell yes. Legal? Absolutely. As I sat there in my office, listening to the silence of my house, I felt something I didn't expect. Relief. Not because my marriage was over. That part sucked. Especially thinking about how this would affect Maya. But relief because I finally knew where I stood. No more wondering if she was really working late. No more pretending everything was fine when it clearly wasn't. Victoria had just saved me years of living a lie. And she had no idea what was coming next. So David's been my lawyer for about 9 years now. Guy's seen it all when it comes to messy divorces. Doesn't sugarcoat anything. When I called him that Thursday morning, his first question wasn't about my feelings or trying to save the marriage. It was straight business. "How long you want to wait before serving her?" he asked. After I explained the situation, "Give me 4 weeks. I need to get some ducks in a row first." David laughed. "Let me guess. Asset protection, something like that." See, David knows about my setup with my mom. He's the one who helped us structure everything legally. Back when I first started making decent money, guys got no love for cheating spouses, especially ones who think they're entitled to half of everything. Their husband worked for 4 weeks it is. I'll have everything ready to go. And Tyler, document everything. I mean everything. That's when I made my second call. "Hey mom, you got a few minutes?" "Yeah, Victoria just told me she's cheating with her ex, and I'm going to need your help with something." There was about 3 seconds of silence before she said, "I never liked her anyway. I'll be there in an hour." My mom saw right through Victoria from day one, but she kept her mouth shut because she wanted me to figure it out myself. Smart woman? She knew that if she said anything negative about Victoria early on, I might have gotten defensive and pushed back. Instead, she just watched and waited. "What do you need me to do?" she asked. When she showed up that afternoon, "I need you to start being present here. Pick up Maya from school, help with dinner, stay over sometimes. I want it documented that you're the stable family presence." While Victoria's running around town, my mom smiled that evil little smile she gets when she's plotting something. "Oh, I can do that. Should I keep a journal?" "Absolutely." Over the next 4 weeks, my mom basically moved in. She'd show up every morning after I left for work, clean the house, do laundry, prep dinner. When Maya got home from school, Grandma was there with snacks and homework help. When Victoria rolled in at 8 or 9 p.m., looking like she'd been shopping all day, my mom would just smile and ask how her day went. Victoria loved it at first. "It's so nice having your mom help out," she said. "I can finally focus on my business without worrying about the house stuff." Her business, right? It gave her something to do during the day. More importantly, it was all in her name. I'd helped her set up the LLC, get the business license, open a separate bank account, all of it under her social security number. What Victoria didn't realize was that my mom was documenting everything. Who made Maya breakfast every morning? Mom. Who helped with homework? Mom. Who was actually running the household while the wife was out building her brand? Mom. Meanwhile, Victoria was getting more and more comfortable with her new routine. She'd leave around 11 a.m. for her business meetings. Come back looking all glowy and satisfied. Started wearing new perfume, bought some new clothes. All on her credit card, of course. The best part was watching her try to justify it to my mom. "I'm just trying to network and grow my business," she'd say. "Tyler wants me to be independent." My mom would just nod and smile. "That's wonderful, dear. Independence is so important for a woman." What Victoria heard, supportive mother-in-law, what my mom was really thinking, this girl is hanging herself and doesn't even know it. About 2 weeks in, I came home from a job site to find my mom and Maya baking brownies in the kitchen. Maya was covered in flour and laughing at something my mom had said. It was one of those perfect family moments, except the wife and mother was nowhere to be found. "Where's Victoria?" I asked. "Important business dinner," my mom said. Not looking up from the brownie mix. Said she'll be late. Business dinner at 7 p.m. on a Friday, sure. That night, my mom and I sat at the kitchen table, going over her notes. She'd been keeping track of everything. What time Victoria left, what time she came back, her mood when she got home, whether she interacted with Maya, whether she helped with any household responsibilities. "She's getting sloppy," my mom said. Tuesday she came home with her shirt buttoned wrong. Yesterday she forgot she told Maya she'd help with her science project. Good, let her get comfortable. See, here's what most guys don't understand about divorce strategy. You can't just react emotionally and file papers the day you find out she's cheating. You need to build a case. You need to show a pattern of behavior. You need to demonstrate who's actually been the responsible parent and who's been off playing grab-ass with their ex-boyfriend. The other thing I was doing during those 4 weeks was getting my financial house in order. Made sure all my pay stubs showed me as an employee of my mom's company, not the owner. Made sure my tax returns reflected my actual W-2 income, not the business profits. Made sure every asset that mattered was properly documented as belonging to my mom. On paper, I was just a guy who worked plumbing and lived with his mom to help take care of his aging parent. Noble even. The fact that I was also running the business day to day, well, that was just me being a good son and helping out with the family company. By week 4, Victoria was barely even pretending anymore. She'd come home at 10 or 11 p.m., grab a shower and go straight to bed. Stopped asking about my day. Stopped checking on Maya's homework. Stopped contributing to any household decisions. She was mentally checked out completely. Perfect. The Friday before I planned to have her served, I was in my office when she poked her head in. "I'm heading out for the weekend," she said casually. Going to see Kyle? I'll be back Monday. I looked up from my computer, just nodded. Cool. The audacity didn't even shock me anymore. She was so sure I'd sit there and take it, like she was doing me a favor by announcing it at all. I texted my mom after Victoria left. She's gone for the weekend. Time to pack her stuff. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. sharp. My mom pulls into the driveway with a truck full of moving boxes. She's been waiting 4 weeks for this moment. And honestly, so have I. You ready to get this cheater out of your house? She says, as she walks through the front door, arms full of supplies. I love my mom. We'd planned this whole thing out during the week. Victoria was supposed to be with her lover boy until Monday, which gave us plenty of time to pack every single thing she owned and get it out of the house. The moving company was coming at 1 p.m. I'd paid extra for weekend service and asked 0 questions. Start with the bedroom, I told Mom. I'll handle her office space. Victoria had taken over one of the spare bedrooms for her jewelry business. She was actually pretty organized with her business stuff. I'll give her that. Too bad she couldn't organize her priorities. As I'm boxing up her supplies, I started thinking about the irony here. She was making little earrings and necklaces, trying to build some kind of independent income, while completely destroying the stable family income that was actually supporting her. Real smart business strategy. About an hour in, Mom calls out from the bedroom. Tyler, come look at this. I walk in to find her standing next to Victoria's nightstand, holding this little wooden jewelry box. It was one of those things she'd bought at some craft fair. Said it reminded her of her grandmother or some sentimental bullshit. Check the bottom compartment, Mom says. I open it up and there's a whole stack of photos, tucked under the velvet lining. And not just any photos. We're talking full-on couple shots. Victoria and her ex-boyfriend at restaurants, at his apartment, in his car, making out like some of them looked recent, but others had to be from months ago. Look at the dates on the back, Mom says. I flip through them and my blood starts boiling. There's one from March, right around the time I was in the hospital for that back injury. I got on a job site. I was laid up for 3 weeks, couldn't work, could barely walk. And this girl was supposed to be taking care of me and Maya. Instead, she was out taking romantic photos with her ex, while I was home eating pain pills and wondering why she seemed so happy all the time. This one's from April, Mom says, pointing to another photo. Wasn't that when you took Maya to Disney World for her birthday? I remember that trip. Victoria said she couldn't come because she had too much work to catch up on. With her business, said she needed the quiet time to focus. Turns out she needed the quiet time to screw her ex-boyfriend. In our house while we were gone. Save all of these, I tell Mom. David's going to love them. Mom grins and slides the photos into a manila envelope. Evidence folder number 1. We kept working, and the more we packed, the angrier I got. Not sad, not heartbroken, angry. This woman had been living a complete double life, lying to my face every single day, and probably laughing about what a sucker I was. In her closet, we found clothes I'd never seen her wear. Lingerie with the tags still on. A whole drawer full of makeup that was way more expensive than anything she usually bought. All purchased in the last few months. All for him. She's been preparing for this for a while, Mom said, as she folded up some dress that probably cost more than my truck payment. This isn't some sudden decision. She's been planning her exit strategy. That's when it hit me. Victoria didn't just wake up one Thursday morning and decide to tell me about her affair. She'd been working up to this moment for months, maybe even longer. She'd been testing the waters, seeing how much she could get away with, building up the courage to make her move. The only problem with her plan was that she completely underestimated who she was dealing with. At 1 p.m., the moving truck showed up perfect. While they were loading everything up, Mom and I did one final sweep of the house. Where do you want this stuff delivered? One of the movers asked. I handed him a piece of paper with her parents' address. Everything goes there. If anyone asks questions, tell them it was a scheduled move. Mom pulled out this little note she'd written and taped it to the top box. She's your problem now. Good luck, Tyler's mom. I had to laugh. My mom doesn't mess around. An hour later, her mom texted me. Tyler, what is going on? Why did you send all of Victoria's things? I replied simply. She's cheating on me with her ex. She told me herself before driving off to spend the weekend with him. No follow-up text came after that. Just silence. The kind that happens when even the people who always make excuses finally run out of them. By 3 p.m., every trace of Victoria was gone from the house. All of it loaded up and shipped off to her childhood bedroom. At her parents' house, the house felt different immediately. Cleaner somehow, even though Mom and I had just spent 7 hours making a mess. Like a bad smell had finally been aired out. How do you feel? Mom asked. As we stood in the living room looking at the Victoria-free space. Relieved, I said, and I meant it. See, I'd been living with this low-level stress for months, without even realizing it. always wondering where she really was, always getting half answers to simple questions, always feeling like something was off, but not being able to put my finger on it. Now I knew exactly what had been wrong, and more importantly, I was doing something about it. "She's going to lose her mind when she comes home," Mom said. "Yes, she is, but by then it'll be too late. Because the divorce papers were already filed, the financial disclosures were already submitted. The custody documentation was already in motion. Victoria thought she was coming home from a romantic weekend with her boyfriend, to continue living her double life. Instead, she was coming home to face the consequences of her choices. Mom made us some lunch, and we spent the afternoon going over our game plan for Monday night. Mom would be here when Victoria got back, both as a witness and as backup. We'd have the envelope ready with all the legal documents, and most importantly, we'd stay calm and let the paperwork do the talking. She's going to try to make you feel guilty," Mom warned. "She's going to cry and blame you and make it seem like this is all your fault." "I know," I said, "but I've got 4 weeks of documentation and a whole envelope of photos that say otherwise." "Good, because this is war now and you better be ready to win it." I was ready. I'd been ready since the moment she walked into my office and threw down the gauntlet. The only difference was that she declared war on the wrong guy. Monday night, 9:15 p.m. I know the exact time because I was watching the clock, waiting for Victoria's grand return. Mom was in the kitchen, making Maya's favorite spaghetti dinner. Kid had no idea what was about to go down, and I wanted to keep it that way for as long as possible. "Dad, when's Mom coming home?" Maya asked, twirling pasta around her fork. "Should be any minute now, sweetheart." What Maya didn't know was that when Mom came home, she was walking into a completely different situation than the one she'd left on Saturday morning. No more playing house, no more pretending everything was normal. Time for some serious reality. At 9:18, we heard the car in the driveway. Victoria always drove this little Honda that needed a new muffler, so you could hear her coming from 3 blocks away. The engine shut off, car door slammed, and then footsteps on the front porch. "Hey everyone," she called out, trying to sound casual. "I'm back." That's when she walked into the kitchen and saw Mom at the stove, me sitting at the table with a manila envelope, and Maya eating dinner like nothing had changed. "What's going on here?" Victoria asked, looking around confused. "Why is your mom making dinner?" Mom didn't even turn around from the stove. "I live here now, sweetie. Someone needs to take care of this family." The look on Victoria's face was priceless, like she'd walked into the wrong house or something. She dropped her bag and started looking around more carefully, probably trying to figure out what was different. "Where's all my stuff from the living room?" she asked. "My candles, my magazines." I slid the manila envelope across the table toward her. "Have a seat, we need to talk." She picked up the envelope but didn't sit down, still standing there in her weekend getaway clothes. New jeans I'd never seen before. Some fancy top that probably cost more than I make in a day. Looking like she'd had a real nice time with her boyfriend. "What is this supposed to be?" she said, opening the envelope. "Divorce papers filed with the county clerk on Friday." Her face went from confused to shocked to pissed in about 4 seconds. "You can't just file for divorce without telling me." "Actually, I can and I did." Mom finally turned around from the stove, wooden spoon in hand. "Honey, you might want to sit down for this. It's going to be a bumpy ride." Victoria started pulling papers out of the envelope, scanning through them like she was looking for some kind of mistake. "This is insane. You can't be serious about this." "Dead serious." She started flipping through more papers, getting more agitated by the second. That's when she hit the financial disclosure section, and her face went completely white. "Wait a minute. Where's all your income listed? Where are the business assets?" Mom chimed in from across the kitchen. "What income? What assets? He works for me, remember?" Victoria spun around to look at my mom. "That's not true. He owns the business." "No, sweetie. I own the business. Always have." "Check the LLC paperwork if you don't believe me." The beautiful thing about our setup was that it was all completely legitimate. Mom had started the plumbing business 22 years ago, back when she was married to my dad. When Dad died 12 years ago, she kept the business running and hired me as her general manager. On paper, I was just a well-paid employee, helping my widowed mother keep the family business afloat. Victoria kept reading, flipping back and forth between pages, like she was trying to solve some kind of puzzle. "This says you only make $48,000 a year. That's what my W-2 says." "Yeah, but that's impossible. We live in a nice house. We have nice things." Mom walked over and put her hand on Victoria's shoulder, in this fake sympathetic way. "Oh, honey, that's because I've been letting you both live here rent-free. I own the house, remember? It's been in my name since before you two even met." You could literally see Victoria's brain trying to process this information. For 2 years, she'd been living in what she thought was her marital home, building up equity, planning her big divorce payday. Now she was finding out that she'd been living in her mother-in-law's house the whole time. "This can't be legal," she said, her voice starting to shake. "It's completely legal," I told her. My lawyer made sure of that. Victoria flipped to the next section of the papers, and that's when she saw the real kicker. The part about her business income, her assets, her financial responsibilities. Why does this say I'm the higher earner? What Victoria was slowly realizing was that while she thought she was building a cute little side business to keep herself busy, she'd actually been establishing herself as the financially independent spouse. And in divorce court, the financially independent spouse doesn't get alimony. They pay it. "Hold on," Victoria said, sitting down hard in one of the kitchen chairs. "This says I owe you money, spousal support?" I confirmed based on our income differential, and the fact that I've been the primary caregiver for Maya, while you've been building your business. Victoria was having a complete meltdown 4 feet away. "This is bullshit. You make way more money than me." "Everyone knows that." "Not according to my tax returns," I said. "And that's all the court cares about." She kept flipping through papers, looking more desperate with each page. Asset division, custody arrangements, financial obligations. Every single section was worse news for her. Victoria looked around the kitchen like she was seeing it for the first time. Her stuff was gone. Her stepdaughter was eating dinner like nothing had happened. Her mother-in-law was acting like she owned the place, because she did, and her husband was sitting there calm as could be, with a stack of legal papers that basically ended her life as she knew it. "Where's all my stuff?" she finally asked. "Your parents' house," Mom said. "We thought you might be more comfortable there, while you figure out your next steps." The envelope slipped out of Victoria's hands, and papers scattered across the kitchen floor. She just sat there staring at them, like they were written in a foreign language. Victoria looked up at me with this expression I'd never seen before. Not anger, not sadness, pure fear, because for the first time in months, she wasn't in control of the situation. "We can fix this," she said, reaching across the table toward me. "I made a mistake, but we can work through it." I pulled my hands back. "You didn't make a mistake, Victoria. You made a choice. Actually, you made a lot of choices. This is just the consequence." The next few weeks were absolutely beautiful to watch. Victoria hired herself a lawyer, some guy who probably advertised on late-night TV, and spent God knows how much money trying to figure out how to get out of the hole she dug for herself. Her first move was trying to claim that I was hiding assets. Her lawyer demanded financial records going back 6 years. Business documents, bank statements, the whole 9 yards. Problem is, everything checked out exactly like it was supposed to, because it was all legit. See, Mom didn't just put everything in her name on paper. She actually owned it. The business, the house, the vehicles, all of it. I'd been paying her rent, working as her employee, and helping her manage the business operations. All of this was documented. When Victoria's lawyer dug into our finances, he found exactly what he was supposed to find. A guy who made decent money working for his mom's company, and a wife who'd been building her own independent business for over a year. "This doesn't make sense," Victoria kept saying. During their little strategy meetings, he has to have hidden money somewhere. But there was no hidden money. Every dollar I'd ever made was accounted for. The only difference was that instead of buying assets in my own name like an idiot, I'd been smart about it from the beginning. The second phase of Victoria's legal strategy was trying to prove that I wasn't actually the primary caregiver for Maya. This is where Mom's documentation came in handy. She'd kept detailed records of who picked Maya up from school, who helped with homework, who was present for parent-teacher conferences, me and her, and who was notably absent from most family activities. Guess who? Victoria's lawyer tried to argue that just because she was building a business didn't mean she was neglecting her parental duties. Unfortunately for them, Mom had photos. Lots of photos. Maya's school play, where Victoria was a no-show. Maya's soccer games, where Mom and I were cheering from the sidelines, while Victoria was nowhere to be found. But the real nail in the coffin was when Victoria's lawyer requested character witnesses. Mom had quietly been building relationships with our neighbors, Maya's teachers, other parents from school activities. When these people were asked about our family dynamics, the picture they painted was pretty clear. Hardworking dad, devoted grandmother, and a mom who was always too busy with other things to be present. "She's not a bad person," one of Maya's friends' moms told the investigator. "She just seemed distracted, like she had other priorities." Other priorities? Yeah, you could say that. Meanwhile, I'm getting regular updates from David about how Victoria's case was falling apart. Her lawyer's trying everything, he told me during one of our meetings. Asset hiding, parental alienation, even claimed you were emotionally abusive. But there's no evidence for any of it. "What about the spousal support calculation?" David grinned. "That's the best part. Based on her documented business income and your documented salary, she owes you approximately $2,100 a month for 3 years. $2,100 a month for 3 years. We're talking about $75,600. which was more than enough to pay off my truck, rebuild my savings, and give me a nice cushion to start over. Her lawyer's advising her to settle, David continued, because if this goes to trial, it's only going to get worse for her. But Victoria wasn't ready to settle. She was still convinced that somehow, someway, she could turn this around. That's when she made her biggest mistake. She tried to use Maya as leverage. The custody evaluation was scheduled for a Thursday morning. Victoria showed up dressed like she was going to church, trying to look like Mother of the Year. The court-appointed psychologist was this no-nonsense woman in her 50s, who'd probably seen every manipulation tactic in the book. "Tell me about your typical day with Maya," the psychologist asked Victoria. During their session, according to Victoria, she was super mom. Always available, always nurturing, always putting Maya's needs first. The only problem was that when the psychologist asked Maya the same questions, the kid told a completely different story. "Grandma picks me up from school," Maya said matter-of-factly. "Mom's usually busy with work stuff. Grandma helps me with homework and makes snacks. Dad comes home and we eat dinner together. Sometimes Mom's there, sometimes she's not." When asked about her favorite family memories, Maya talked about baking brownies with Grandma, going to the park with Dad, and movie nights where usually it's just me and Dad and Grandma, because Mom has meetings. Out of the mouths of babes. The psychologist also noticed that during the supervised visit, Victoria seemed more interested in asking Maya questions about me and Mom than actually engaging with her daughter. Classic manipulation behavior. Trying to get information rather than building a relationship. "Does Daddy seem sad?" Victoria asked Maya during one of their sessions. "Not really," Maya replied. "He smiles more now, and Grandma makes better pancakes than you do." Brutal. Kids don't lie, and they don't sugarcoat things to protect adult feelings. After the custody evaluation was complete, David called me with the results. "Primary custody to you with visitation rights for her. Every other weekend and 1 evening per week. She's also responsible for child support. Child support from the woman who thought she was going to take me to the cleaners. But here's the thing that really killed me. Victoria's boyfriend, the great love of her life, started getting real scarce once the legal bills started piling up. Turns out that dating a married woman for secret hookups is fun. But being with a divorced woman who owes her ex-husband money every month is a lot less appealing. I heard through the grapevine small-town people talk that he'd been telling people the divorce was too complicated, and he needed some space to think. Translation: he was done with Victoria. Now that she came with baggage and financial obligations, the final hearing was scheduled for the following month. Victoria's lawyer had basically told her that she had two choices: accept the settlement offer, which included spousal support, child support, and limited custody, or go to trial and risk losing even more. "What do you think she'll do?" Mom asked. "She'll fight it," I said. "She's too arrogant to accept that she lost," and I was right. Because even with everything stacked against her, Victoria still thought she could somehow convince a judge that she was the victim in all this. Big mistake. Court day finally came. I walked out with full custody, $2,100 a month in spousal support, $850 in child support, and a calm sense of closure. 7 months later, life is fantastic. Maya is doing great in school. Mom's basically moved in permanently, not that I mind, and I'm back to making my full salary now that the divorce is final. That $2,100 a month from Victoria has been going straight into Maya's college fund, and my retirement account. Victoria, last I heard she was working 2 jobs, trying to keep up with her payments. The jewelry business folded completely. Turns out it's hard to be creative when you're stressed about money. She moved into some shitty apartment across town, and drives a car that's older than our marriage was. The great love of her life completely ghosted her. About 3 weeks after the divorce was final, apparently dating a broke single mom with limited custody. Wasn't quite the fairy tale he'd imagined. A couple months ago, Maya came home from one of her weekend visits and told me something that made my whole year. "Dad, Mom asked me if I wanted to come live with her instead." "What did you tell her?" I said. "No, I like living here with you and Grandma. We have more fun, out of the mouths of babes. Last week I got a text from an unknown number. Can we please talk? I know I made mistakes, but maybe we can work something out. I miss my family." I just blocked the number. Some bridges are meant to stay burned.